Here we are on Brunch with Brian this morning. Good morning. And today I wanted to talk about, last Teaching Tuesday, I talked about communication and there's so many important components to communication. And I wanted to actually talk about that a little bit more. I want to just go through, in case you missed that, or just as a recap, I want to go through the 6 steps to great communication, 6 keys to great communication. So, number one was knowing your desired outcome in advance. So anytime you're going to get on a conversation with someone, make a phone call, or have a business meeting, what's the desired outcome? What are you trying to get out of that communication? Darn it, I like it when he stays back up there. But so that's a big part of it initially. So then, when you are clear on what your desired outcome, sometimes we go into communications and the other person is calling us. They have a desired outcome in mind and you don't. And so that's a big, that, if it's a negotiating situation, that actually gives them a big advantage that they've already thought this through. They know their desired outcome and you're kind of not clear on it. That's why when you go into a conversation with a seller, I always want you to know 2 things in advance: how much you think the house is worth and how much you think you can rent it for if you're going to buy it as a buy and hold long-term cash flow property. So then, well, I can afford to pay, $1,100 a month on this property and still have a $400 a month spread. So you kind of know going in what your desired outcome is. So your desired outcome on any call with the seller is the goal of the closing call. Your desired outcome is to have the 4 deal points worked out and have a deal meeting set up, a time to meet at their property. Or if it's a virtual meeting, a time to do a video chat. And sometimes you can roll right into that. So that's the goals. That's the desired outcome on a closing call. When you do your closing call, when you do your opening call, your desired outcome is to have that customer think that you're credible, build some good rapport, have some kind of a connection with them in that way, and have all the information you need, have a filled out sheet. So gathering information. That's the desired outcome on an opening call. So if you can get that, you're doing great. So now on a closing call, the desired outcome again is it's actually the same thing. You still want to maintain that credibility. You want them to think that you're very professional and credible in the business, but then you also want to have that good rapport going. So build that rapport, have the rapport going, also the great credibility, and then beyond those things, beyond just that emotional positive connection there that's going to have them trusting you, then that's when you're hoping to get the 4 pretty house deal points, we call them, or the 4 creative financing deal points worked out, and then to also have a time to a deal meeting appointment. So then what's the desired outcome on a deal meeting? The desired outcome on a deal meeting is uh, a good evaluation of the property. Okay, so that's when you do the house tour. I mean, you should have a pretty good feeling about the quality of the property and how much repairs it might or might not need. And so that's an important part of the deal meeting, is have a good qualitative take on the property. And beyond that, I mean, obviously you want to have a signed agreement. So the perfect deal meeting is you have a good take on the property, you know what it needs, you know what it doesn't need, and you're walking out with a signed agreement, and of course a happy customer who still believes in your credibility and likes you. You still have that good rapport. So knowing your desired outcome in advance is important on any communication. And then when you get into the personal stuff, sometimes you'll talk to your spouse or your friend or one of your kids or something, and you'll just go into the conversation pretty casual, and you're not really thinking about a desired outcome. And that's fine, a lot of times. But sometimes if they have a big desired outcome out of that conversation, you have to be, you know, uh, acknowledge that and be aware of that, because you're going to have to come to grips with it, whatever their agenda is. So, just be aware that mostly when you're having conversations with your family, it's just the goal, the desired outcome is to have a pleasant conversation and, feel closer and build more love and, stuff like that. Good stuff. So that's usually the personal stuff. And then on the business side, I told you what your desired outcomes are in the 3 stages of the business: opening call, closing call, and the deal meeting. Now, the next step is preparing a smart script. So that's step one. Just step one of the keys to great communication is knowing your desired outcome in advance. So that's just number one. Number two is preparing a smart script or finding a smart script. So obviously you have the smartest scripts by you're using our scripts. You know, I used to work in Hollywood and I've written like 20 screenplays. I don't always talk about this, but I spent 7 years writing screenplays and TV episodes and all that. So the scripts you're reading from us are very conversational. They're really great. They get to the point. They ask things in a not too direct way that's going to put off the customer. So really, use the scripts, stick to the scripts. My secret to success, as I'm sure you've written before, I hope, Brian's secret to success is stick to the steps, stick to the scripts, and stick to your schedule. So if you do that, then eventually, the business will yield its fruits and you'll start making money. So if you're going into any of these communications, though, opening call, closing call, or deal meeting, use our scripts for those occasions. We've got all the opening call scripts. Remember, we've got a FSBA opening call script that's really great. It's the best opening call script ever. Also, a listing realtor opening call script. We've got a landlord opening call script. We've got an off-market property opening call script. So if you're finding great properties just driving for dollars, and then you skip trace and you find out who owns the property and you call them, this would be your off-market property opening call script. And then we've got a property manager opening call script, sometimes when you're calling on landlords. So those are your opening call scripts that you stick to. Now, what about your closing calls? Primarily that seller financing closing call, that great 2.5 page script. That's pretty much the main script you're going to stick to. Now, sometimes you'll do a subject to deal or a sandwich lease purchase or something different. There's even a subordination closing call in there, which is what we call blended funding. A blended funding deal is a subordination deal. If you have, I don't talk about that too much, but I should, maybe I'll talk about that some more next time. But so there's all different closing calls in the system, but they're all kind of based on the template of the seller financing closing call. So a lot of them have repeat sections and just little differences here and there. So if you get good at just that closing call, 2.5 pages of seller financing, you'll be doing great. And then, there was several years where I didn't have deal meeting scripts in there. And I just said, okay, here's the goals of the deal meeting, go tour the house and get the paperwork signed. But I realized people really need to know what to say as they go through the paperwork. So I actually wrote it all out. Here's exactly what you say about, section 1, section 2, section 3, and what you say as you're going through the agreement, what you say as you're going through the house tour. All that stuff now is in that deal meeting script. So step 2, again, use a smart script or prepare a smart script. And you may even want to put objection answers in there. Like, what might they say if they are not going my way? And then just come up with an objection answer. Now, you can do this on any conversation. You can do this if you're calling, to negotiate, I don't know, if you're buying a new car or whatever, and there's all kind of things that you might be doing to call and talk to people on the phone or in person. And you can write your own little scripts. Oh, I went to this other dealer and he had said that with this model, I can get this, and so you write little scripts out and then you end up getting a better deal. Okay, so number 3 is you build rapport. And I talked about that a little bit. Build rapport and credibility. Okay, so that's really important. Number 3, you want to connect with that person. You want to have them feel that you're credible. Number 4 is listen. And sometimes, we're thinking, okay, I got to present my case. I'm in here present my case. I'm like a lawyer, convincing them to do what I want them to do. But really, sometimes, the best people who do well in this business just listen a lot, and just listen to the person and let them tell their story. Well, can I ask why you're selling? Write that down, guys. Can I ask why you're selling? And then just shut up and let them talk. Let them see how long they can go. If you have somebody really talking, if it's a good deal, now if it's maybe a lousy deal and it's very unlikely, the numbers don't even look good, well, then don't let the customer ramble on forever. But if it looks like a good deal going in, man, you ask an open-ended question like, can I ask why you're moving? Or so when do you need to move? Or are you already moved? Or whatever, that opens up any kind of a conversation. Let them go, let them talk. And you're going to find out a lot of things. In fact, they'll reveal their hot buttons. They'll tell you exactly what they need, and then you can figure out whether or not you can fill those needs. And a lot of times you can, because that's called creative financing. A lot of creative things with creative financing. Okay, so that was number 4, is listen empathetically. And so really that will help you figure out, where they're coming from and help you help them. Number 5 is use the best negotiating techniques. Now, they're already incorporated into the script, but we did create a whole nother system on negotiating. So if you're interested in that, just call the office anytime, 888-RICH now, as you know, 888-RICH now. Okay, now, and then that was number 5. And then number 6, sign on and off with enthusiasm. It's always a big one for me. And Lynette is really great at doing this. And you know what? Sometimes Lynette won't build rapport. She won't take a lot of time to, go through her whole, home investor biography, like what we talk about. Now, you absolutely should. You should do that because it will help you build rapport and credibility. And I want you to say, we buy and sell houses all around the area, say some positive things about yourself. And so that will help you make that connection. That's very important. But Lynette seems to make a connection with these customers, because a lot of times we're calling a bunch of people in a row and we don't have a lot of time to build rapport. She is able to make this connection just with her cheerful demeanor and her enthusiasm. So just when they say hello and she says, "Hi, this is Lynette Wolf. I'm calling about your house for sale. Is it still for sale?" And just, I don't know, I can't do it. It sounds phony sometimes, and I don't want you to sound phony. But boy, if you can bring some real cheerfulness and enthusiasm and people skills to the equation, that is very helpful. So that's why I always say sign on and off with enthusiasm. And at the end, my favorite word is great. This is going to be great. This is going to work out great for you guys. This is going to be great for us. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. This is going to be so great. And they can't help but think, gee, maybe this is going to be great. All right, so that's a way of showing enthusiasm. That's my Tony the Tiger line. They're great. Okay, so I'm glad I had a chance to go over this. Even if you were with us on Teaching Tuesday, that's great. When I went into this in super depth, but this was a really nice little encapsulation where you get a good sense of how you want to approach any communication to be the most effective. Wow, this was a good one today. So now I will tell you that our affirmation is going to be, I'm a great communicator. All right. So we always do it 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm a great communicator. I'm a great communicator. I'm a great communicator. Awesome. All right. Now we always like to take deep breaths, 3 deep breaths. Okay, nice deep breath in. My camera's kind of crazy today. Come here, babies. I set this up so you guys could see the puppies, and a lot of times they'll stay up here. And now that today they left me. Okay, so another deep breath in, and always a big smile. It's a little bit harder to get a nice deep breath when you're sitting. So a lot of times I like to stand up, as you guys know. Nice deep breath. One more. And a big smile. And all right, great. Kind of squished. So now, I will be back tomorrow, and we're going to have an awesome session then. But use what we talked about today on all your calls. Now you know your desired outcome on your opening call, closing call, your deal meeting, all your business communications. And okay, if you are looking for the off-market property or the property management script, if they're not, they should be up on the members website. So again, guys, you're going to put your code in. You go to ourwolfpack.com, and then you put your code in there, and then you have your access to basically all the scripts. You know what? I will specifically make sure that I get those uploaded. If they're not in there, and they may not be, because I haven't been on there for a little bit. So, and those are new, the property management script and the off-market seller call. So let me send those in, okay? And I'll make sure that they get posted up there today if you can't find them. Those are very important. Good morning, everybody. Always great to see you, William and Robert and everybody. And Jason, hey, good to see you, buddy. Always, and Lynette is the best. Oh, okay. So you had to throw me a bone too. All right. So great to see everybody. I'll be back tomorrow, as I said. I hope you took good notes today on this. And if you want the Teaching Tuesday call, if you want to hear the whole thing, just just send an email to support@thewolfcouple.com, support@thewolfcouple.com. Or remember, you can always call us at 888-RICH-NOW, 888-RICH-NOW. Call anytime, and we'll shoot you off a link to listen to the whole Teaching Tuesday where I covered the 6 keys to great communication. All right, so great spending time with you today. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Until I see you next, keep expecting success, getting